Imagine walking through the pristine, sun-drenched valleys of the African savanna 100,000 years ago. The air is crisp, the water in the rivers sparkles like diamonds, and the environment feels completely untouched by the industrial filth of the modern world. You feel safe. You think you are living in a biological paradise, but hidden inside that crystal-clear river water, floating silently in the air you breathe and lurking on the skin of the animal your tribe just hunted, is a brutal, relentless killer. For 99% of human history, the greatest apocalypse our species ever faced wasn't a giant asteroid crashing from the sky. It wasn't a pack of hyper-intelligent predators, and it wasn't even the bone-chilling freeze of the Ice Age. The ultimate destroyer of human life was completely invisible. We are talking about ancient pandemics, microscopic armadas of viruses, bacteria, and parasites that waged a non-stop multi-millennial war against our ancestors. Long before the Black Death, the Spanish flu, or modern global outbreaks, early humans were locked in a silent, terrifying struggle for survival, where the enemy had no face, gave no warning, and left no ruins behind. Think about your modern reality for a moment. When you get sick today, you have an entire civilization standing behind you. You have sterile face masks, antibacterial soaps, global vaccine networks, and powerful life-saving antibiotics. If a dangerous pathogen enters your neighborhood, the world walks down. Scientists isolate the genetic code of the virus in a matter of days, and clean, filtered water flows directly into your home. But put yourself in the bare feet of a prehistoric hunter-gatherer. You have no concept of germ theory. You don't know what a virus is. Your entire medical toolkit consists of a few crushed leaves, some wild roots, and perhaps a shaman chanting around a campfire under the stars. If a deadly, highly contagious pathogen invades your small community, it doesn't just cause a few coughs. It can turn your entire campsite into a graveyard within a single week. So how are you sitting here today watching this video? How did a fragile, hairless primate with nothing but stone tools and a large brain manage to defeat these invisible terminators for hundreds of thousands of years without a single pill or a medical doctor? The answer is as profound as it is terrifying. Your ancestors didn't survive by hiding from the invisible apocalypse. They survived by running directly through its biological fire, and their bodies kept a meticulous, bloody ledger of the war. To understand the first and most powerful weapon early humans possessed, we have to look inside our own cells. Renowned Harvard professor of human evolutionary biology, Dr. Daniel Lieberman, highlights a crucial evolutionary truth. Humans evolved to be active, resilient endurance organisms, but our bodies were also shaped by a brutal continuous process of natural selection driven by pathogen. Every single time an ancient virus swept through a small prehistoric clan, it acted as a harsh, unyielding biological filter. It was an all-or-nothing exam for survival. If your immune system was sluggish, if your white blood cells couldn't decode the new threat fast enough, you died before you could pass on your genes. But if you possessed a slight genetic variation that allowed your body to recognize and neutralize the invader, you survived. You became a walking biological fortress. When those survivors had children, they passed down that exact genetic blueprint PNU, battle-tested defensive upgrade. This means that you are not the descendant of average, ordinary survivors. You are the direct product of a 300,000-year-old lineage of genetic champions who won every single invisible war nature ever threw at them. Every time your body easily fights off a seasonal flu today, you are utilizing an advanced internal security system that was paid for with the lives of millions of early humans who died to calibrate it. But our evolutionary defense mechanism has an even darker, more fascinating twist. In recent years, groundbreaking research by evolutionary geneticist Dr. Svante Pääbo has completely changed what we know about our immune system. By extracting and seed-ruining ancient DNA from fossilized bones, Dr. Pääbo discovered that when early Homo sapiens migrated out of Africa and into Eurasia, they encountered archaic human species like Neanderthals and Denisovan. Now, these archaic humans had already been living in the harsh, cold environments of Europe and Asia for hundreds of thousands of years. Their immune systems had already spent millennia fighting local Eurasian viruses and bacteria that the African Homo sapiens had never seen before. When Homo sapiens and Neanderthals met, they didn't just exchange cultural ideas. They interbred, and guess what they inherited from those encounters? Pääbo genetic mapping proved that modern humans received critical human leukocyte attendon HLA genes from Neanderthals. These specific HLA genes are the hypersensitive scouts of your immune system. They detect foreign pathogens and sound the alarm. By interbreeding with Neanderthals, our ancestors essentially hijacked a pre-made, battle-tested security system, perfectly adapted to the local Eurasian biomes. It was the prehistoric equivalent of devloading a massive anti-crisis software update, instantly saving our species from being utterly wiped out by unfamiliar northern diseases. However, a powerful immune system is a double-edged sword, and this is where the hidden cost of our survival becomes clear. To fully grasp how our bodies manage the massive energy required to fight these invisible apocalypses, we must look at the revolutionary work of evolutionary anthropologist Dr. Herman Pontzer. Through his extensive studies on energy expenditure, Dr. Pontzer formulated the constrained total energy expenditure model. He proved that the human body does not have an infinite pool of energy. We operate on a strict, unyielding daily metabolic budget. Fighting off a massive viral infection requires an enormous amount of metabolic fuel. Your immune system has to run hot. It has to manufacture billions of specialized cells, ramp up your core body temperature to create a fever, and wage a high-intensity internal war. So where does your body get that energy when food is scarce in the ancient wild? According to Dr. Pontzer model, your body is a deeply conservative biological accountant. When the immune system sounds the alarm, the body immediately forces a metabolic cutback in other areas. It aggressively dials down your physical motivation, makes your muscles feel heavy and weak, and plunges you into a state of profound lethargy. When you get sick and feel completely unable to get out of bed, that isn't just a side effect of the disease. C is an active, brilliant survival strategy, coordinated by your brain. Your body is forcefully locking you down, cutting off energy to your limbs, and diverting every single metabolic cent into the internal war zone to keep you alive. In the ancient world, the caveman who tried to push through the fatigue and hunt a mammoth while fighting a severe infection burned through his energy budget and collapsed. The caveman who stayed completely still in the back of the cave, acting perfectly lazy, survived because his metabolic budget was fully dedicated to the invisible front lines. But biology is only half the story. The ultimate reason why ancient humans never faced a world-ending species-wiping pandemic down the line lies in their structural lifestyle. Think about how a modern pandemic spreads. A virus mutates in one corner of the globe, hitches a ride on a commercial airplane, and within 24 hours it has spread to major high-density cities containing millions of people who live, work, and breathe in cramped, enclosed spaces. The modern world is a paradise for pathogens because we have built a hyper-connected, hyper-dense global superorganism. Now, look at the Paleolithic world. For 99% of our history, humans lived in small nomadic bands of roughly 30 to 50 individuals. These groups were incredibly isolated, separated by vast expanses of unforgiving terrain. If a highly lethal, fast-killing virus mutated and infected a prehistoric tribe, the extreme isolation of the ancient world acted as a brutal natural firebreak. The virus would quickly infect the small group, but because there were no highways, no crowded markets, and no international flights, the pathogen would literally run out of hosts. It would burn through that single tribe and die out completely before it could find a path to another human population. The Tharse nomadic distribution of early humans was a built-in geographical quarantine system that kept the species safe from total annihilation. Furthermore, their nomadic lifestyle meant they were constantly moving away from their own filth. Pathogens thrive in stagnation. In a permanent modern city, waste accumulates. Water systems can become contaminated, and disease vectors like rats and fleas settle in for the long term. But your prehistoric ancestors were professional movers. As soon as their temporary campsite became dirty, or the local water source began to taste strange, or members of the tribe began to fall mysteriously ill, they didn't stay to investigate. They didn't have a C2C to test the soil. They simply packed up their animal skins, gathered their stone tools, and abandoned the camp. By constantly migrating, they left their accumulated waste, parasites, and lingering bacteria behind in the dirt, allowing nature and sun and wind to naturally sterilize the area over time. Mobility was their primary form of sanitation. The unseen apocalypse was a brutal, merciless teacher, but it sculpted the very reality of who you are today. It forced our bodies to become hyper-adaptable. It drove our ancestors to maintain a lifestyle of natural isolation and it even forced us to steal vital genetic shields from other human species just to stay in the game. So the next time you feel a fever rising or your body forces you to crash onto your couch in absolute exhaustion from a sudden illness, don't look at it as a design flaw. Don't curse your body for feeling weak. Take a deep breath. Look at your reflection and realize what is actually happening. Inside your veins, a 300,000-year-old survival program is running with absolute flawless precision. Your white blood cells are deploying tactics written in the blood of ancestors who fought on the Pleistocene savanna. Your body is doing exactly what it was brilliantly designed to do, throttling your energy, locking you down, and fighting the latest battle in an invisible ancient war that your lineage has already won 1,000 times before. You are the walking, breathing proof of an unbroken chain of ultimate survivors.